In this episode of Catching Ancient Photons, we're going to capture Messier 104, otherwise known as the Sombrero Galaxy. Let's check out the time machine's readout on this target. Wow, 28 million light years. So the photons of light that we see coming from this distant galaxy left it 28 million years ago. Truly ancient photons. At that time, the Earth was going through a period called the Oligocene epoch. The climate was cooler and drier than today, and ice caps began to form at the poles. Many new mammal species, birds, and mountains like the Alps formed during this time. It was a period of significant change and evolution that helped shape the world as we know it today. The Sombrero Galaxy, also known as M104, is a truly breathtaking sight to behold. Located approximately 28 million light-years away from Earth, this massive spiral galaxy is truly a wonder of the universe. Its distinctive shape, with a bright central bulge bisected by a dark dust lane that gives it the appearance of a sombrero hat, is simply mesmerizing. Spanning a whopping 50,000 light-years in diameter, the Sombrero Galaxy is home to billions of stars, as well as a supermassive black hole at its center. Its stunning beauty and sheer size inspire a sense of wonder and awe in anyone who gazes upon it. From its intricate spiral arms to its mysterious dark dust lane, the Sombrero Galaxy is a testament to the vastness and complexity of the universe. Its existence reminds us that there is still so much to discover and explore beyond our own small corner of the cosmos. So now we're going to use the iPad to connect to the ASIAir Pro, which is controlling the telescope. So now it's found it, and we're connecting. And now we have to connect to the mount, because for some reason it just does not automatically do that, so I got to do it manually. And now we're going to select our target object, which is M104, Sombrero Galaxy, and then select slew, and the scope moves to find it. And it uses plate solving to actually determine whether it's in the right place or not. And there's the first image from the short exposure from the centering process, about 10 seconds. Now we have to go into the guiding camera and get the guider set up. You actually can see the galaxy there in the field. So it's selected multiple stars to guide on. So it takes about a half a minute for that tracking to settle down and start tracking properly. In the meantime, I'll go to the auto run menu and set up the plan for the imaging. And here I'm just adding an extra H-alpha filter, which I ended up not using. So that's the process to set up the plan to take all the pictures. And now we're starting the auto run. And from here on, the ASIAir Pro will automate the capture session. So this is sped up. This is basically show you the tracking up there in the left-hand corner. That is all the corrections that the ASIAir is making based off the guide scope. So basically coming up here in about 15 seconds or so to be able to see that first image, the first 300-second image. And downloading to the iPad. And there it is. That's our first 300-second subframe. Now we can do some adjustments with the histogram to darken this background sky a little bit. It's always so impressive when that first image comes up. It tends to surprise me very often as the quality of the images that this system produces. Okay, now we're ready to process all of this wonderful data that we collected over the few observing sessions there. So I pulled all the data off of the ASIAir Pro by its thumb drive and moved them all here onto my computer. And so this is all the data we're going to be working with. So let's go ahead and open up AstroPixel Processor, which is the software that I tend to use. And now we get to look at all the data. So let's see, M104. All right, so let's load in all the blues. Okay, so that's all of our light frames. Now we have to grab the flat frames that I had taken previously. Okay, now we have to add the dark master that I have. Basically the master dark that I've created before. And the fun part now begins, basically going through all this data, looking at the frames. And we'll zoom in and over here to just kind of watch. So now I'm just hitting the down arrow and going to be looking at all the frames. And you can see it's jumping to the left and right. That's because I was using dither. What the ASIAir Pro does is it moves the telescope slightly after each frame which tends to get rid of any linear noise so that you don't have streaks. This one's really strange. What is going on here? Sometimes you pick things up on some of these frames and it's really some amazing stuff. So this is some type of satellite action. I have no idea, but what's particularly is going on here. So we don't want that one. Sometimes bad things happen. These are all looking pretty good. A lot of nice detail here around the edge of the dark lane there. Yeah, this is post-meridian flip. Everything's on the other side now. Getting some nice diffraction spikes from the spider veins in the RC. These are all looking pretty good. Nice round stars. Now there is an easier way to do this in AstroPixel Processor. You can rank the images basically by the quality of the image, how round the stars are, and background brightness and such. But generally I don't have a whole lot of frames, so I just kind of go through and look at them one by one. Oh, and now we're into the flats. Don't have to look at the flats, so I've got some dust bunnies here for sure. All right, so now that those are all done, we've all looked at these, so now it's time to go ahead and integrate these. So what it's going to do now is it's going to go through and apply all of the flats and the darks to every single image to get them all normalized. Basically, all the general processing, it will integrate all the different colors together, and now we'll have master color frames, and then we'll go from there. So basically just start the integration. So this is M104, and we will start. So now it will run for probably a half hour, 45 minutes, and just getting all this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let this run, and I will check with you on the other side. All right, so the process has completed, and we're looking at our red integration here that we have. So that's the red. Let's see. Here is the blue. Okay, looks a little different. Here is the green. Okay, and here is the luminance. Oh, boom. Okay, good. Okay, so now what I can do, so I have these items and they don't look too light polluted, so I think I probably don't need to process them. So we can move directly into the RGB integration. So the way we do that, we go up here to Tools, and we pick Combine RGB. Okay, so now we have to add the separate channels. Okay, so now normally I pick Add Scale because it lets you see the colors better, it seems like. So then I calculate, and it's combining those three, and we should see our first color image. Okay, so let's see. So I think we have to work on this color a little bit. This is the part of the processing that is really very, it's kind of subjective. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play around with these color balances until I get something that I like, and then I will check back with you. So a lot of times when I'm initially starting looking at an object, I will jump out on the internet and basically get a clue of what this thing's supposed to look like from a color perspective. So we'll search for actually I'm going to say Sombrero Galaxy. Okay, and then look at images. All right. So yeah, so there's some that are more yellow,
some that are more blue. Okay, so I think I'm going to shoot for the yellow concept. All right, so go back. There, okay. There we go. Now we're getting pretty close. Okay, that looks pretty close, I think. So I think I will probably save that out. So it's one level up. So here is the file we just did. It's this LRGB. I have another app that I use called Nebulosity that I use to basically look at the image at first. When it comes in, it looks horrific. Yeah, way blown out. And see, and then from all the moving around and the dithering and such, the corners are kind of screwed up, so you end up having to crop the image anyway. And AstroPixel processor doesn't let you crop, so it's kind of odd. So, okay, so now I'm going to run the curves tool, and it immediately brings back the, there we go. All right, let's zoom way out. And now we can go ahead and crop this thing. And there it is. All right, well, I think that's about as far as I'm going to take it with this particular application. The next thing that I do is basically the final color balancing and sharpening and such. And that is in an application called Aperture. It's an older Apple application, and you can use whatever you feel like. That's the neat thing about this whole process of doing astrophotography and using different tools to come up with great results. And you can look at what other people are doing and the tools they're using, and it's really great to learn that way. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. Save file. So now we will go into this app called Aperture, and that's going to be this one. So let's go ahead and drag that in. Oh, that's my previous picture. This. All right. So I think that's looking pretty close to the way I want it. So that's basically my workflow for image processing for objects that I'll catch here with the telescope here at Kissimmee Park Observatory. Hope you enjoyed this video. This is a brand new series that I hope to put out, kind of similar to my star hopping series that I had a few years ago. But I spend a lot of time imaging, and I figure it would be a great thing to be able to capture this process and share it. And it's kind of fun with the setup that I have here in the observatory, and basically like to share my process and how I'm getting images at the Kissimmee Park Observatory.
So here's the final result of my capture of M104, the Sombrero Galaxy. This is 385 minutes total integration time, which is just shy of 6½ hours. These captured photons were 28 million years old when they hit the sensor of my camera. See you next time on Catching Ancient Photons.